The gym's fluorescent lights buzzed like a swarm of angry bees. But I barely noticed anymore. Sweat stung my eyes. My lungs burned. And Coach Liam's voice cut through the haze. 10 more reps. If they didn't quit on me now. I wanted to collapse. To scream that I couldn't do it. But something in his steely gaze kept my shaking arms pushing the kettlebell skyward. My name's Ethan Carter. 24. A graphic designer by day. A gym rat by night, or rather, by Coach Liam's unrelenting schedule. I joined Peak Pulse Gym in downtown Seattle 6 months ago, desperate to shed the self-consciousness that clung to me like a second skin. I wasn't overweight, just soft, insecure, the kind of guy who'd avoid mirrors at all costs. Liam, though, he was everything I wasn't. 32, broad-shouldered, with a jawline that could cut glass and a reputation as the toughest trainer in the city. His workouts were brutal, his standards higher than the Space Needle. And for some reason, he'd zeroed in on me from day one. Again, he barked, circling me like a hawk. It was 9 p.m. An hour past closing, and the gym was a ghost town except for us. This was normal now, Liam, keeping me late, pushing me harder than anyone else. At first, I thought it was punishment, like he saw my weakness and wanted to break me. But tonight, as his hand grazed my shoulder to correct my form, a jolt shot through me. His touch lingered a second too long. His eyes locked on mine in the mirror, and I swear the air crackled. I'd always known I was different. Growing up in a small town outside Tacoma, I'd buried my feelings under layers of denial, terrified of what it meant to be attracted to men. Seattle was supposed to be my fresh start, a place where I could figure myself out. But Liam, he was a complication I hadn't planned for. He was straighter, so I thought. The way he watched me, though, the way he pushed me, it felt personal. Possessive, even. Focus, Ethan, he said, his voice softer now, almost intimate. I dropped the kettlebell, gasping, and he stepped closer. You're stronger than you think. You just need someone to show you. His words hit harder than any workout. I wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at me. Was I imagining the tension between us? Or was Coach Liam, the man who could have anyone, actually seeing me? The next morning, I couldn't shake the memory of his hand on my shoulder. At my desk, designing a logo for some tech startup, I doodled his name absent-mindedly, then scribbled it out. Mortified. My coworker, Mia, a bubbly 27-year-old with a knack for gossip, noticed. Spill it, Ethan. You've been spacey all week. Hot date, she teased. I laughed it off, but my stomach twisted. If only she knew. I wasn't ready to tell anyone, not her. Not my parents. Not even myself. Being gay wasn't the problem. Seattle was accepting enough. It was the fear of rejection, of misreading signals, of ruining the one place I felt like I belonged. The gym was my sanctuary, and Liam was its gatekeeper. That night, I almost skipped training. The thought of facing him, of feeling that pull again, made my palms sweat. But I went. I always went. Liam was waiting, his arms crossed, a faint smirk playing on his lips. Thought you might bail, he said, tossing me a water bottle. Glad you didn't. We started with deadlifts, his usual drill sergeant routine in full swing. But something was different. His corrections were gentler, his voice laced with something I couldn't name. You're getting there, he said, his hand steadying my back. But you're holding back. Why? I froze. He wasn't just talking about my form. The weight clattered to the floor, and I turned to face him. His eyes were searching, unguarded for once, and my heart pounded so loud I was sure he could hear it. I'm trying, I managed, my voice barely above a whisper. Trying's not enough, he said, stepping closer. You've got to let go, Ethan. Stop fighting yourself. His words hung between us, heavy with meaning. I wanted to ask what he meant, to demand answers, but fear clamped my mouth shut. Instead, I nodded, grabbed the bar, and lifted, pouring every ounce of confusion into the movement. As the session ended, Liam didn't dismiss me like usual. He leaned against the wall, his expression unreadable. "You ever think about why you keep coming back?" he asked. I opened my mouth, but no words came. He didn't wait for an answer. "See you tomorrow, Ethan. Don't be late." I left the gym that night, my mind a storm of questions. Was Liam just doing his job, pushing me to be better? Or was there something more? I didn't know. But one thing was clear, I was in deeper than I'd ever meant to go. The rain was relentless, hammering Seattle's streets as I trudged to peak pulse the next evening. My reflection in the gym's glass doors looked like a drowned rat. But inside, Liam's presence was a beacon. He was already there, setting up equipment, his movements precise and powerful, like a dancer who could bench press a car. "Late," he said without looking up, but there was no venom in his voice. I mumbled an apology, my cheeks burning as I dropped my bag. The gym was empty again, our private battlefield. I wondered if he kept other clients late like this, but I'd never seen it. Just me. Always me. We dove into the workout, burpees, squats, pull-ups. My muscles screamed, but Liam's voice was the real torture. "Higher, Ethan. Don't half-ass it." His intensity was magnetic, pulling me into a rhythm I didn't know I had. But every time he adjusted my stance, his hands brushing my hips or shoulders, my focus shattered. I was hyper-aware of him, his cedarwood cologne, the way his tank top clung to his chest, the flicker of something in his eyes when I caught him staring. Mid-session, he stopped me. "What's with you tonight? You're distracted." His tone was sharp, but his gaze softened, like he already knew the answer. I wanted to tell him God. I wanted to spill everything. That I couldn't stop thinking about him. That I was terrified of what that meant. But I just shook my head, muttering, "Long day." He didn't buy it. "Talk to me," he said, crossing his arms. "You're not just here for the weights. Ethan, what's going on?" The sincerity in his voice cracked something in me. I opened my mouth, ready to confess, but fear slammed it shut. Instead, I deflected. "Why do you keep me late? You don't do this with anyone else." His jaw tightened, and for a moment, I thought I'd crossed a line. Then he sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. "Because you're different," he said simply. "You don't see it, but I do. You've got something real." His words hit like a punch, and I stood there, speechless, as he turned away to adjust a weight rack. The rest of the session was a blur. My body moved, but my mind was stuck on his words. Different. What did that mean? Was he flirting? Or was I projecting my own desperate hopes onto a man who was just doing his job? As we wrapped up, he tossed me a towel, his fingers brushing mine. "You're not alone. You know," he said quietly. "Whatever you're carrying, you don't have to do it by yourself." I left the gym that night, the rain soaking me to the bone, but I barely felt it. Liam's words echoed in my head, mingling with my own fears. I wasn't ready to face them, not yet. But something was shifting, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. The next day, Mia cornered me at lunch. "Okay, Ethan, you're acting weird again. Is it a guy?" Her grin was playful, but her accuracy startled me. I choked on my coffee, stammering a denial. She laughed, but her eyes were kind. "Whoever he is, he's got you messed up." That's a good sign. I wanted to tell her about Liam, about the late-night sessions, about the way my heart raced when he was near. But I didn't. Not yet. That evening, Liam was different, quieter, almost hesitant. He didn't push me as hard, and when he corrected my form, his touch was fleeting, like he was holding back. It frustrated me. I wanted the intensity, the connection, even if it scared me. "What's wrong with you tonight?" I blurted out, surprising myself. He raised an eyebrow, a ghost of a smile on his lips. "Me? You're the one who looks like he's fighting a war in his head." He stepped closer, his voice low. "You want to tell me what's really going on, Ethan? Or are we going to keep pretending?" My breath caught. This was a moment I could lay it all bare. But the gym's mirrors reflected my fear back at me, and I couldn't do it. I shook my head, grabbed my bag, and left without a word, my heart pounding with regret. I avoided Peak Pulse for 2 days. It was the longest I'd gone without training since I started, and it felt like betrayal not just to Liam, but to myself. My apartment became a cage, the walls closing in as I replayed our last conversation. "You want to tell me what's really going on, Ethan?" His voice haunted me, daring me to be honest. On the 3rd day, I couldn't stay away. The gym was busier than usual, a rare crowd of evening regulars. Liam was training a woman in her 40s, his focus sharp but distant. When he saw me, his expression flickered relief. Maybe. Or was I imagining it again? He finished with her and strode over, his usual confidence tempered with something new. "Caution. You're back," he said, wiping his hands on a towel. "Thought you'd ghosted me." His tone was light, but his eyes searched mine, looking for answers I wasn't ready to give. "I needed a break," I lied, dropping my bag. He nodded, but I could tell he didn't believe me. We started with cardio, the treadmill's hum drowning out the silence between us. But it wasn't the same. His corrections were professional, his banter subdued. I hated it. I wanted the Liam who pushed me, who saw me, who made me feel like I could be more. Halfway through, I couldn't take it anymore. "Why are you acting like this?" I demanded, stepping off the treadmill. "You're different." He stopped, his jaw tight. "You walked out, Ethan." No explanation. Nothing. "What do you expect?" His honesty stung, but it was fair. I'd run from him, from myself. I took a deep breath, my hands shaking. "I'm scared," I admitted, the words spilling out before I could stop them. "I don't know what this ISIS, the gym, whatever. It's too much." My voice cracked, and I looked away, mortified. Liam stepped closer, his voice low but firm. "You think I don't get scared? You think I don't feel this too?" His words hit like a shockwave. "Feel this too?" Did he mean? I searched his face, but he didn't elaborate. Instead, he handed me a dumbbell. "Channel it. Use it. Don't run from it." The rest of the session was intense, but not in the usual way. Every rep felt like a confession, every correction a conversation we weren't having. When we finished, he didn't let me leave right away. "Coffee," he said, not a question. "Tomorrow morning. Neutral ground. We need to talk." I nodded, too stunned to argue. As I left, my heart was a mess of hope and fear. Coffee with Liam. It wasn't a date, but it felt like a step towards something I wasn't sure I was ready for. The next morning, I arrived at Brood Awakening, a cozy cafe near the gym. Liam was already there, looking out of place in a flannel shirt instead of his usual tank top. He smiled when he saw me, a real smile, not the smirk he used to keep clients in line. "You clean up nice," he said, and I blushed, fumbling with my order. We talked really talk for the first time. Not about reps or form, but about life. He told me about growing up in Portland, about his dad's disapproval when he chose fitness over a real career. I told him about Tacoma, about hiding who I was to fit in. I didn't mention my feelings for him, but the air between us felt charged, like we were dancing around the truth. As we left the cafe, he stopped me. Ethan, I don't do this get close to clients. But you're not just a client. My heart stopped. Before I could respond, he added, think about what you want. I'll be at the gym tonight. Then he walked away, leaving me reeling. That night, the gym felt different. Smaller, somehow, like the walls were closing in on the truth I'd been dodging. Liam was waiting, his usual intensity softened by something vulnerable. I'd spent the day agonizing over his word Siri, not just a client, and now, facing him, I felt exposed. We started with a light workout, but my heart wasn't in it. Neither was his. After 10 minutes, he dropped the clipboard and sighed. All right, Ethan. No more games. What's it gonna be? His directness caught me off guard, but I was done running. I like you, I blurted out, my voice shaking. I don't know how to do this, or if you even, but I can't keep pretending. The words hung there, raw and terrifying. Liam's face was unreadable, and for a moment, I thought I'd ruined everything. Then he stepped closer, so close I could feel the heat of him. You think I keep you late because I'm a sadist? He said, his voice low. I see you, Ethan. Every day, fighting to be someone you're proud of. I'm not supposed to feel this way about a client, but I do. My breath hitched as he reached out, his hand grazing my cheek. I've been trying to claim you in my own messed up way. Before I could process it, he kissed me. It was fierce, desperate, like he'd been holding back as long as I had. The gym, the weights, the mirrors, they all faded away. There was just Liam, his hands on my face, his lips saying everything we hadn't dared to. When we pulled apart, I was trembling, but for once, it wasn't from fear. We can't do this here, he said, glancing at the gym's cameras. But we're not done. He grabbed my hand, leading me to the locker room, where we sat on a bench, catching our breath. He told me he'd known he was gay since high school, but kept it quiet in the fitness world, where stereotypes still lingered. I told him about my own fears, my years of hiding. It was the most honest I'd ever been. But reality crept in. What now? I asked. You're my coach. People will talk. Liam's jaw tightened, but his eyes were steady. Let them. I'm not hiding anymore. Ethan. Are you? I didn't have an answer. Not yet. The next few days were a whirlwind. We kept our sessions professional, but stolen glances and brushed hands spoke volumes. Mia noticed my mood shift at work and pounced. You're glowing. Ethan. Spill. This time, I told her. Not everything, but enough. Her excitement was contagious, but it didn't erase my doubts. What if this ruined Liam's career? What if I wasn't ready to be out? One night, after another late session, Liam invited me to his place. It wasn't a date. Not exactly just pizza and a movie. But sitting on his couch, his arm around me, I felt something I hadn't in years, safe. We didn't talk about the future, but for the first time, I believed there could be one. Liam's apartment became our refuge, a place where we could be ourselves without the gym's watchful eyes. But outside those walls, the world wasn't as kind. Whispers started at peak pulse, clients noticing our late sessions, the way Liam's eyes lingered on me. I overheard one guy mutter, "Coach has got a favorite," and the words stung more than I expected. Liam brushed it off. People talk. Always will. Focus on you. But I couldn't. My insecurities flared, amplified by the fear of being outed before I was ready. At work, Mia was my cheerleader, but even she couldn't understand the weight of it all. You're happy, Ethan, she said one day. Don't let fear steal that. I tried to listen, But doubt was a relentless shadow. One evening, a new client, a burly guy named Jake, cornered me after a session. "You and Liam seem close," he said, his tone laced with insinuation. I froze, my heart racing. "Just training," I mumbled. But Jake's smirk said he didn't believe me. That night, I confronted Liam. "People are noticing. What if this gets out? What if you lose clients?" He pulled me close, his voice steady. "I'd rather lose clients than you." His words were a lifeline, but they didn't erase the fear. I wasn't just worried about him, I was worried about me. Coming out meant facing my family, my past, everything I'd buried. The next week, things escalated. A local fitness blog posted a blind item, which Seattle gym coach is getting too cozy with a client. It didn't name us, but the comments section was brutal, filled with homophobic slurs and speculation. Liam laughed it off, but I saw the tension in his jaw. "We're not doing anything wrong," he said. "Let them talk." But the talk was getting louder. At the gym, Jake and his buddies started making snide remarks during group classes. "Careful, Ethan. Don't want coach getting too hands-on," Jake said one day, loud enough for everyone to hear. The room went quiet, and I felt every eye on me. Liam stepped in, his voice like steel. "Jake, you got a problem. You take it up with me." "Not him." Jake backed off, but the damage was done. That night, I broke. "I can't do this," I told Liam, my voice shaking. "I'm not strong enough." He grabbed my hands, his eyes fierce. "You're stronger than you know, Ethan. You've been fighting your whole life. Don't stop now." His belief in me was overwhelming, but it wasn't enough to silence the fear. I started pulling back, skipping sessions, avoiding his texts. Liam didn't push, but I could feel his hurt in every unanswered message. Mia called me out at work. "You're sabotaging yourself," she said. "You love him, Ethan. Don't throw that away." She was right, but love wasn't the problem. Courage was. The gym felt foreign without Liam's voice guiding me. I'd stopped going, telling myself it was temporary, just until I could figure things out. But every day without him felt like a step backward. My apartment was a mess, my sketches uninspired, my body heavy with the weight of my own cowardice. Mia dragged me to coffee one weekend, her patience wearing thin. "You're miserable, Ethan. Call him. Fix this." I wanted to, but the thought of facing him, of admitting I'd run again, paralyzed me. What if he was done waiting? What if I'd pushed him away for good? Then, a text from Liam, "Gym. Tonight. 9 p.m. Please. No demands. No ultimatums. Just please." It broke something in me. I showed up, my heart in my throat. The gym was empty, the lights dim. Liam was there, sitting on a bench, looking more tired than I'd ever seen him. "I thought I could do this," he said, his voice raw. "Let you figure it out. But I can't. I need you, Ethan. Not as a client, as you." His vulnerability shattered me. I crossed the room, sitting beside him, our knees touching. "I'm scared," I admitted. Not just of people finding out. Of me. Of not being enough. He took my hand, his grip firm. "You're enough. You've always been enough." His words were a balm, soothing the wounds I'd carried for years. We talked for hours. The gym, our confessional. He told me about his own fears, losing his career, his identity, his family's respect. But he was done hiding. "I want this," he said, his eyes locked on mine. "I want us. But you have to want it too." I did. God, I did. But wanting wasn't enough. I had to act. The next day, I told Mia everything. Her hug was fierce. Her words simple. Be you, Ethan. That's all you need. Emboldened, I called my mom. Coming out to her was terrifying, but her quiet acceptance, I just want you to be happy, gave me strength. I went back to the gym that night, ready to fight for us. But Jake was there, waiting. Heard you and coach are a thing. He sneered. Didn't peg you for his type. Before I could respond, Liam was there, his presence a shield. Enough, he said, his voice deadly calm. You don't get to talk to him like that. Jake laughed, but it was hollow. The other clients watched, some nodding in support, others whispering. I realized then that this was my moment. I'm with Liam, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. And I'm not ashamed of it. The gym went silent. Then someone clapped. Then another. Jake stormed out, but I didn't care. I'd chosen myself. I'd chosen us. The fallout wasn't as bad as I'd feared. Some clients left, but most stayed. And Peak Pulse owner, a gruff but fair woman named Carla, backed Liam. You're the best trainer I've got, she told him. Love who you love. Just don't break my equipment. Her support meant everything. But it was the gym's regulars, people I'd barely spoken Toho, surprised me most. They rallied around us, offering fist bumps and quiet words of encouragement. Liam and I were careful at first, keeping things professional during sessions. But outside the gym, we were building something real. Dinners at his place, hikes in the Cascades, late-night talks about everything and nothing. He pushed me to be better, not just in the gym, but in life. And I pushed him too, challenging his stubborn streak, making him laugh in ways he hadn't in years. But the blog post lingered, a dark cloud over our happiness. It wasn't just gossip anymore. Someone had leaked Liam's name, and the comments were vicious. One night, over takeout, he admitted it was getting to him. I can handle the hate, he said, but I hate that it's hurting you. I took his hand, my resolve hardening. We're in this together. They don't get to win. I decided to fight back, not with fists, but with truth. I started a blog, anonymous at first, sharing my story, the fear, the shame, the love that changed everything. I wrote about Liam, about the gym, about finding strength in vulnerability. To my shock, it went viral. Messages poured in from people who'd felt the same, who'd hidden their truth. Liam read it and pulled me into a hug. You're braver than you know, he said. The gym became a symbol of something bigger. Carla let us host a Pride workout event, and the turnout was incredible. Clients, allies, even strangers who'd read my blog. Jake showed up, surprisingly subdued, and apologized. Didn't realize what it meant to you, he mumbled. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. As summer turned to fall, Liam and I grew stronger together and apart. I was designing again, my sketches infused with new confidence. Liam started coaching a youth program, helping kids find their strength. We were building a life, one rep at a time. 1 year after that first late-night session, I stood in Peak Pulse, watching Liam train a new client. The gym was alive with energy, the clank of weights a familiar symphony. I wasn't the soft, insecure guy who'd walked in here anymore. I was stronger, sure, and unapologetically myself. Liam caught my eye and winked, his old smirk back in place. After the client left, he pulled me into the locker room, his hands warm on my waist. You know, he said, I kept you late all those nights because I couldn't let you go. Not then. Not now. I laughed, kissing him, marveling at how far we'd come. We'd faced the whispers, the hate, the fear, and we'd won. Not because we were perfect, but because we were honest. My blog had grown into a platform for others, a space where people shared their stories of love and resilience. Liam and I were planning a trip to Portland to meet his family, a step I never thought I'd take. My parents were coming around, slowly but surely, and I was learning to be patient. That night, we hosted another Pride event at the gym. The room was packed, rainbow flags draped over the weight racks. Liam took the mic, his voice steady. This place isn't just about getting strong. It's about being you, every part of you. The crowd cheered, and I felt tears prick my eyes. I'd found my strength, not just in my body, but in my heart. As the event wound down, Liam pulled me aside. "You changed me, Ethan," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I was tough, but you made me brave." I smiled, my chest tight with love. "You made me brave first." We stood there, in the gym that had been our battleground, our sanctuary, our home. The journey hadn't been easy, but it was ours. And as I looked at Liam, I knew one thing for certain: we'd keep fighting, keep loving, keep claiming each other one rep. One day, one life at a time.